Yeah, so of course, many of us are going to be in the situation of having one child who has a certain set of needs and other children whose needs and personalities and interests are different. And this could be the case in a family where there's a child with CAS, but also in every family, there's going to be differences that we have to accommodate for each of the individuals, each of the tiny individual humans that we're raising.
I was really glad to see the sibling question on the list of options because I feel that siblings play such a important role in the journey of a child with CAS. As many of us know, they're the translator. They're the one that always knows what they're saying, even if mom and dad does not, or someone else in the family. I know my daughter's always been my go-to to help me understand what brother is, trying to tell us. And she's just always been so good at that. I just have never, gotten over how great she could be at knowing those things. And so I do think siblings kind of have that special skill that the rest of us don't have.
Look for signs that the sibling is ready. Look for signs that they're kind of wondering about this. Talking about it as brain-based behavior, talking about it as everyone has things that are easier and harder. Everyone has things that they work on. I think that's the most important part, is being sure to highlight the idea that we're all working on something.
I would explain to them that it's something that their sister or brother was born with. Again, that makes them unique and different, just like maybe, the color of your hair or your eyes, and it makes them who they are. Explain to them that, they may have trouble speaking and communicating, and they can help their sibling. They can be a good support, an advocate, maybe a protector, somebody that can help explain to others what apraxia is and maybe why their sibling doesn't talk and communicate the way everybody else does.
We really want siblings to understand what's going on, why their sibling talks differently, why it's harder for them, and to really understand that they have to give more time, let their sibling answer. Siblings always want to be the speaker, and we have to really say, oh, remember, it's Johnny's talking turn right now. We got to let him have his turn. And then if it seems like it's hard, you can ask him if he wants you to help him. And then maybe they can interpret at that point. But we really want to make sure that they are not saying, oh, Johnny said this, and jumping right in and not giving Johnny the chance to have his time to put his message together, get his mouth to do what it needs to do, and say it the way he wants to say it.
I think it's really important. Honesty and upfrontness is also really important in this situation. We have to let our children know the difference between equality and equity in our family, and everyone is going to have a different set of needs, and meeting those needs for one child might mean something and might look like something very different than meeting those needs for another child. That has to do with how we as parents respond to our children, and also how our siblings respond to each other. So letting our children's siblings know that sometimes this child is going to need more time to answer a question or respond to something, or they're going to need to use their talker to answer this question versus giving other children time to respond verbally. Maybe some children prefer to tell us what they want to tell us through gestures versus using their talker. So everyone's form of communication in our family is important and valuable, and we're going to do for each of our family members what they need at any given time.
I think, it is important that they're also involved in things in the journey. For example, having them have a special job and the special sticker for siblings at the Apraxia walk. I think it's good, again, to involve them in something like summer camps, or invite them to come if the SLP is okay with it for therapy sometime, just to be kind of be that fan club, right? It's kind of like fan in the stands for sports. We do the same thing when cheering them on working on speech and communication. And this summer we're thinking about starting a SIBS club. So when the children are at camp doing the therapy part of camp, the siblings will get together and have their own kind of fun, special event. Because I do know, sometimes there is a sense of jealousy, as hard as that is for us to understand. Why would you be jealous of therapy? They get a lot of extra attention at times, right? Time with mom and dad driving to and from therapy, going to therapy. And so I do think that it is important that we involve them and include them and make them feel important, because they are so important in that role.
And if there are any specific strategies that family members can do to help, or that the family can do to make the environment more inclusive, model that as parents to make sure that siblings understand that we are a family here and we make it possible for everybody to be involved.
We also want to make sure that we help them find that balance between sometimes when the word comes out wrong, it's funny and we can laugh about it to keep the moment light, but we don't want to always laugh about it, but because we don't want Johnny to start to not want to talk in front of his siblings. So helping them see that, oh, Johnny thought that was funny when he tried to say Taylor Swift and it came out Taylor Fish. He thought it was funny when he said fish. So we'll all laugh about it together. But not every time Johnny says something and it comes out the wrong way are we going to laugh about it. So really following Johnny's lead of how he wants to handle it in the moment and trying not to correct him unless Johnny wants some help with it.
And this has to do also with who has to go to different appointments during the week and who gets time for their extracurricular activities, and really understanding that our children are going to have feelings about that, the ones with CAS and their siblings as well. And we need to make space for those feelings and help them process those feelings, but also explain to them in a way that they can understand that everyone's needs are different, everyone's smarts and intelligences are different, and they all have value, and figure out how to meet those in their individual ways.
And I think too that it's good if they kind of learn, when to advocate for their sibling and stand up for them, especially in the school setting, since mom and dad are not there. It is important that they have that safe person who's going to stick up for them and say, hey, this is how my brother communicates and there's nothing wrong with that. I think too, right, there's some learning involved in the sense of like knowing when to answer for the sibling and when to kind of step back and allow them that space for them to discuss. I know when my son went to preschool open house, the principal was standing at the door, wanted to introduce herself. What is your name? And, my son immediately looked at sister, like nudged her even with his elbow, like, tell her my name. And she says, no, buddy, like you tell her, you try. And so it was really cute to see just that she kind of naturally even knew, when to help out and when to allow him some space to do that himself. And I just think they just play such a great kind of role, and they really are important to the journey.